I stumbled upon quite a pretty big situation that has been going on in France, in that it has gotten so big that, yes, Macron has been tasked now with going out to the public and trying to dissuade them from believing that his wife, Brigitte Macron, was actually born a man.
Now, Candace Owens has been making the allegations for more than a year. On X posts, things like Brigitte Macron was born a man. Brigitte Macron was born Jean-Michel Tourneau. He lived as a man for about 30 years before transitioning, accusing Brigitte of rape. And, quote, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact Brigitte Macron is in fact a man. Well, now, whatever reputation that is going to be tested. The French President and First Lady have launched a defamation lawsuit in the US state of Delaware. They've clearly had enough of years of conspiracy theories on the edge of the internet and French society that have almost been mainstreamed by Owens.
President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte are suing Candace Owens for claiming that Brigitte is secretly a man who transitioned or identifies as a woman. Kinsey, this story is wild.
It is. Candace appears unfazed by the situation, with a source telling TMZ she has no intention of staying silent. In fact, she's reportedly directly invited the Macrons to challenge her statements on her podcast. You know, as background, Brigitte Macron filed a defamation suit in 2021 against two influencers who claimed she was born male. Although the court initially ruled in her favor and ordered compensation, the Paris Court of Appeals overturned that decision this month. It's evident this is one of the Macrons. It remains deeply emotional when it comes to them. They remain deeply emotional about it, and they're invested in this.
I think Discovery is going to be fascinating, and just the entire relationship between Brigitte and Emmanuel, never mind the genders, to me is highly questionable, because she met him when she was, I think, 39. She was a teacher. He was a 15-year-old student. Now, that in itself is just, troubling, but it's kind of never really talked about in any sort of critical way.
This was 3 years of hard work. And what they determined was that Brigitte Macron did not exist for the first 30 years of her life. Listen to what I'm saying to you. There is no proof that this human being existed for 30 years. It's a very easy thing to debunk, guys. Okay? Very easy thing to debunk. If somebody came at me and said, Candace Owens, you did not exist for the first 30 years, I'd be like, what are you crazy? Here's my high school yearbook. Here's my middle school yearbook. Here's me and the homies standing outside with too thin eyebrows because that was the style when I was in high school. Here's me, a picture of me cheerleading. Here's me when I played the flute for 6 months. Here's me and my sisters. It's such a nonsense that I would instead send out people to call it crazy without giving them 30 years worth of proof to debunk it. Let's not forget, Brigitte Macron also has 3 kids. I could show you photos of me pregnant. Oh, here's me in the hospital when we had our first child. They're not doing any of that. And today, I have been sued by the first lady man of France. And I got to tell you, it is getting more intense out there. I think actually it's even going international. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, I'm pretty sure him and his husband Brigitte are going to come for my life.
Candace Owens is a 36-year-old who dropped out of journalism at university but now has just shy of 4.5 million subscribers on YouTube, nearly 7 million followers on X. She previously worked for conservative groups and outlets like Turning Point and Daily Wire. Some of her previous rumours and theories have focused on COVID vaccines, the Holocaust and the moon landings. But in recent times, she has really latched on to the Macrons and the rumours and innuendo about their relationship and past, creating an 8-part YouTube series and podcast called Becoming Brigitte, where she outlined her theories on the French First Lady. Owens has also claimed Macron was chosen to be president by a CIA mind control program. The Macrons have always been somewhat of a curiosity at the very least. He was a 15-year-old student. She was his 39-year-old teacher when they met. Her daughter was in Emmanuel's class. Monsieur Macron rising to become French president at the age of 39.
politicians, the Macrons, they're used to having everything thrown at them. Why did they decide on this occasion this had to be litigated and therefore into the full glare of publicity?
Of course. Thanks for having me, Richard. The Macrons, just like any other person, have a reputation and they have a right to their reputation. And this was not in any way their first choice, was to have to bring this claim. For the better part of 7 months, they have tried to get Candace Owens to acknowledge the facts and evidence proving that her claims are wrong and to engage constructively with the truth. And each time she has mocked them and she has repeated and doubled down on her false claims. And I would say also, these types of false statements become a cancer, right? They metastasize into other media outlets, and pretty soon it becomes an accepted part of the narrative. And the president and Mrs. Macron had enough. This is somebody who has put herself, with Candace Owens, has put herself at the epicenter of this lie here in the United States, and they feel it's important to hold her accountable.
Don't you feel that you're just going to give it more oxygen? And yes, eventually the Macrons may prevail in cases, but there'll be depositions, there'll be witness statements. They're going to have to, what do you do if suddenly it goes to trial, which it probably won't do, but if it goes to trial and Owens calls the Macrons?
Well, look, the fact that they're willing to undergo that process that you just described conveys volumes about how serious they are about this and how important it is to them to stand up to this.
Calling the lawsuit a desperate PR strategy.
I am floored. Are you floored? Because this is just goofy. You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. But I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls. Fire everybody around you, and I mean literally everyone around you who told you that this was a good idea, that this was a very good idea for you to be the first sitting first lady of a country to file a lawsuit against a journalist of another country.
I think that President Macron is going to have a very difficult time with this libel suit. And the reason for that is really simple. Under U.S. law, public officials are required to prove actual malice, knowledge of falsity, reckless disregard for the truth. In his lengthy complaint, he has certainly alleged that on the part of this podcaster, but I think he's also probably not giving enough deference to the fact that courts in the United States grant broad discretion to individuals to comment on public officials. I think that Mr. Clare's complaint that he's prepared on behalf of Macron spends a lot of time talking about the motivation of this podcaster.
Other than cease and desist, are they seeking large damages? Are they seeking, as we've seen in other cases, essentially the closure of her company and her podcast and the like?
So this is a claim for monetary damages in the United States. A claim for defamation only can recover defamation damages, so damages to reputation, economic harm, and the like, and we'll come forward to prove those things at trial. But we also hope to set the record straight. We're going to have a public trial. The evidence is going to be presented, and this crazy conspiracy narrative is going to be put to rest for once and for all.
You do realize if this comes to trial, it will be a circus, the like of which we've never seen before.
Certainly understand that. We're no stranger to that. When our firm took on Dominion, our firm represented Dominion Voting Systems in the case against Fox News a few years ago. Same courtroom, same courthouse. Same media circus, and so we stand ready to stand shoulder to shoulder with President and Mrs. Macron as they go through that.
Tom, please come as this goes through, and as much as you can legally. Let's talk more about it in the future. We do a lot of things on law and important things like that. I'm grateful for you, sir, tonight. Thank you.